90.3 WHPC now presents Law You Should Know. The law affects every aspect of our lives, our home, our jobs, and our recreational activities. Now, learn about the law and how to protect yourself against the loss of your liberty or property, and learn how to stand up for your rights and seek compensation when you have been wronged. Your host for Law You Should Know is attorney Kenneth J. Landau, a past dean of the Nassau Academy of Law, and frequently lectures to lawyers on ethics and avoiding problems with clients, and to the public on how to choose and use lawyers. This is Law You Should Know on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC.
Hi, this is Law You Should Know, hosted by attorney Ken Landau, and tonight we are going to talk about the benefits of adopting a dog, especially during and after COVID, and why so many people adopted dogs during COVID and the right ways to adopt a dog. My guest is Marion Zola. She's the author of a book about adopting a dog, and she's going to offer tips. Even if you're not interested in a dog, perhaps you have a friend or relative, someone who has adopted or is thinking of adopting a dog. Marion, welcome to Law You Should Know.
Thank you, Ken. Thanks very much for having me.
As we're coming out of COVID, why has the COVID experience led more people than ever before to consider adopting a dog?
Well, people were lonely staying home by themselves, especially if they were living alone and they wanted the companionship of a dog or cat. And the adoptions went through the roof during COVID. And some of the rescue groups couldn't keep up with the volume of calls, and people got frustrated that they weren't getting called back soon enough. And they got frustrated and went and bought a dog when they could have adopted. But it was difficult.
Okay.
It was difficult.
And as you said, the rescue groups, the dogs that help match dogs that need to be rescued to people who want to put a dog in their life were a little bit overwhelmed. So it's a process. It's like adopting a child. They have to research, make sure it's an appropriate match, and it's going to be a good fit for both people, both the person and the dog. And sometimes these organizations are run by volunteers, and sometimes it's not a perfect match the first time, so there needs to be a different dog that's a better match for those people.
Right.
So in general, what are the best legal ways to adopt a dog?
Okay. If you want to adopt a dog, I would go to your local shelter first, because for the most part, those dogs are in danger of being killed if they're not adopted. They are wonderful dogs in the shelter. The only thing wrong with them is they had the wrong owner, or their owner died, or the owner got sick and couldn't take the dog to the nursing home. Whatever it was, there was no one in the family to take the dog. And a lot of times that's how the dog ends up in the shelter. There are incredibly superficial things that people think of while bringing their dogs to the shelter.
And sometimes it's the cost or behavior, or they are going to live in assisted living, or they're going to a place where someone won't allow a dog. So there are good reasons why the dogs are in a shelter, and there are good reasons to adopt a dog from a shelter.
Sometimes there are poor reasons that the dog is in the shelter, like the dog didn't match my furniture, or the dog pooped too much in the backyard because somebody didn't take him for a walk. I mean, people have ridiculous reasons. They didn't want to invest the time to train the dog. They didn't want to invest the time to take care of him. And, you know, not everybody is so sensitive or considerate.
So like raising a child, or it takes persistence, it takes training. It may take enlisting help of friends or relatives or a professional trainer to change the dog's behavior a little bit so it works out.
Right. I mean, you have to be patient. It's a new living creature in your home. But if you
thinking creature. And a social creature that may just have different behaviors, and they can be adjusted.
Exactly. And if you want to find a rescue dog that's right for you, and you have in mind that you want a certain kind of dog, go to petfinder.com. Petfinder lists all the available dogs for adoption. You can put in the breed you want. If you don't have a particular breed, you don't have to put that in. You can put in the age, the sex, the area where you live, and all the available dogs in your category will come up. People don't know that.
And I'm sorry, go ahead.
The best thing, of course, is to visit your local shelter and visit your local rescue groups, and you can meet the dogs in person. And if you don't know where to go to petfinder.com. You will see the dogs listed.
And it's important to talk to them about the best match in terms of size, in terms of habit or personality, so that you have the best match for your personality, your activity level, and your circumstances.
Exactly. I mean, the people in the shelter know the dogs that are there. They have trainers that test the dogs. They know if a dog is appropriate for children or not appropriate for children. And for older people, there's nothing better than an older dog. My husband and I adopted a 10-year-old dog 4.5 years ago. She's absolutely fine. She's right here at my feet. She's 14 and a half. She's doing great. And the advantages of an older dog, and it doesn't have to be that old, is that they're not puppies anymore. They're housebroken. They're calm. They don't pull, jump, run. They're very mellow.
But they can still do activities with you and get you out there mentally and physically.
And the other great advantage is it's not a 15-year commitment, which a puppy is.
And what are some of the other benefits to both the dog and the person who's adopting the dog?
Well, of course, there's nothing better for anybody than unconditional love. And that's what a dog gives you. And it's a healthy thing to have a dog, because you have to get up and get out and get moving and walk the dog. And they will tell you, doctors will tell you, that you're much healthier when you have a dog. My sister-in-law was trying to adopt a dog during COVID. She couldn't get a dog in her area. She finally went and bought a dog from, I might say, a very legitimate breeder, which we'll get into. And she lost 10 pounds the first 2 weeks just walking the dog. It's a very healthy habit. And, you know, Ken, they found that in facilities, in nursing homes, when they brought in animals or they allowed people to bring their pets, the residents were not only happier and less lonely, but the amount of medication they took went down by about 50%. And this one doctor started what he called the Eden Project, which is to bring in pets, children, and plants. And it really improved the condition of the residents.
So the idea of talking to a dog, of petting a dog, of caressing a dog, and vice versa, is good physically and psychologically and socially for the person.
Exactly. It's a wonderful thing. My husband died 6 months ago, and I am so grateful that I still have a little creature to hug and kiss, who looks forward to my coming home, who kisses me. It's wonderful.
And it goes both ways. I mean, people look forward to coming home to the dog, and the dog looks forward to the people coming home to see them.
Bingo. I think
and they really can be, you know, man or woman's best friend.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
If there's work involved, there are resources to help a person, let's say with dog walking or dog training or dog care, learning about dogs.
Exactly. And, you know, most people can train their own dogs. There are wonderful books out on training. Even though this is my interview, I would like to recommend a friend's book on training called How to Get Your Dog to Do What You Want by Warren Eckstein. Well, he's the best psychologist I know for dogs. And we had a big love story with the dog we adopted, and I couldn't help it. I had to write a book about him and the love story he created between me, him, and my husband, called Romancing the Dog, The Struggle to Make a Pound Dog Happy in Beverly Hills.
And I assume it works both ways.
Yes, absolutely. But the one thing, Ken, I would like to tell your audience is that there is a scam out there. for people who insist on getting a puppy, if they want to buy a dog, buy a puppy, unfortunately, 50% of them are taken in by the scam known as puppy mills. And I would love to tell your audience.
And just elaborate on that a little bit more.
Okay. Puppy mills are horribly cruel places where 50, 75, 100, 200 dogs are stacked in wire cages during their whole lives. They never get out. They have to stand in these wire cages in their own filth. They have no proper medical care. They are in dirt all the time. The only thing they do is provide more dogs for the terrible people who do this. And the dogs have miserable, suffering lives from birth to death.
And because of certain genetic defects, because of extensive breeding,
right,
there are time bombs, and they may have problems, later on. Very expensive. Exactly. And difficult to resolve problems.
And they're expensive dogs. But I would love to tell your listeners how to tell a puppy mill dog from a legitimate breeder's dog.
Go ahead.
Okay. If the dog is from a legitimate breeder, the breeder wants to meet you in person. They want to know about your family, how many people are living in the home. They insist on meeting you. They ask questions about your family. The legitimate breeders socialize the puppies, and they have veterinarians individually examine and vaccinate each puppy, and they have verifiable proof of this. They have legitimate vaccination certificates by licensed veterinarians.
And also, you're gonna meet the parents, the dogs who are the parents, maybe the dogs who are siblings.
At least the mother of the dog you will meet. The people who are legitimate breeders are proud of their dogs. They want you to meet them. At least the mother, if not the two parents. They have the siblings, as you say. They screen for the breed's predisposition to certain genetic problems. They had their dogs tested for them. They raise their puppies in their home, not in a kennel. And they are in your state. Do not ever buy a dog on the internet or from an out-of-state puppy mill. They will call themselves breeders, but they are just puppy mill procreators. They are the legitimate breeders are happy and proud to introduce you to their dogs. The dog has healthy, long lives, and these breeders are able to answer your questions. If you want to find one of these legitimate breeders, they are usually involved with local and national breed clubs, and they abide by the code of ethics. You can get them, you can find them on pupquest.com. Pupquest.com will remind you of all the criteria. They're licensed. They only raise one or two breeds. If they say they are licensed by the U.S. Department of Agriculture, that's a puppy mill. And they have many breeds available. That's a red flag. That's a puppy mill. And you can also call the American Kennel Club or the Humane Society to find a legitimate breeder in your area. But if you go on pupquest.com, they will give you the criteria again.
I also want to mention that if you see a dog you like, you can ask the owner what shelter they got that dog from. If it's a pedigree dog, you can ask them what breeder they got that dog from, and use that as a reference.
One more thing.
Sure.
Every breed has its own rescue group. You can go to a German Shepherd Rescue, Poodle Rescue, Cocker Spaniel Rescue. They all have their own rescue groups. So there's no excuse to buy a dog if you want to adopt. There's millions of dogs for adoption, and over 1,700 dogs are killed every day because there's no one to adopt them and there's no more room at the shelter.
And these are all reasons to, to adopt a dog, especially now during or after COVID. I just remind our listeners that we're listening to Marion Zola, and she has written the book, Romancing the Dog, about her own, how she adopted a dog. I'm sorry, go ahead.
The subtitle is The Struggle to Make a Pound Dog Happy in Beverly Hills.
And just tell us where your book is available again.
Anywhere. You can get it on Amazon. You can get it from a bookstore. If they don't have it, they'll order it. And you can get it on Barnes & Noble. Any site you want. It's available in paperback, ebook, or Audible.
Now, you've given a lot of thought to adopting a dog. Do you have any other thoughts about matching a breed of dog to your space and your lifestyle and activity level?
Well, if you're an older person, really consider getting a slightly older dog or an older dog, because a puppy is a 15-year commitment. And what about the parents of kids who beg to have a dog? And a lot of the parents know that kid is probably not going to take care of the dog. There's a way to test the kids out before adopting. You can tell the kids, okay, we're going to foster a dog for a rescue group, and we'll see how you take care of it.
And that's really a good idea for anyone. Many groups or local shelters will offer the idea of fostering.
Right.
So you can try out a dog, see how it fits in and how you or your family react to it, and see if it's workable.
That's a terrific idea.
And that's kind of a win-win. And even if if that dog doesn't work, you could try another dog. Meanwhile, the dog is getting valuable experience in socializing with humans, which, as you mentioned, it may have been deprived of in its surroundings. And you're getting an idea about the care aspects and the relationship aspects of having a dog.
That's so true. We were fostering our dog before we adopted her. My husband had Parkinson's, and I was a little concerned that he might trip over the dog. So I didn't want to get another dog at that point, but we were somewhere where we thought we could foster and do a good deed. And we fostered her for 6 weeks, and we ended up not being able to part with her.
And you want to make sure that the dog will be okay in your surroundings, and you'll be okay with the dog in your surroundings. So fostering is a good way to test that out. And with retirement and, of course, COVID, those are life events that may encourage people to adopt dogs.
Actually, I think the best dog parents are retired people. They have the time to take care of them. They set their own schedule. And I see the older people in my neighborhood who take care of their dogs really do a great job. They're not as rushed as young parents, and they devote the time to the dog that he needs.
And that's both physically and mentally, because the dog gives you a reason to walk. It gives you companionship. And mentally, just, planning out your day, it gives you a whole range of activities. And it's much more common today in this country to take dogs on vacation with us or on trips.
You're allowed to take the dog to so many hotels. And, this service called A Place for Mom, where older people are matched with a retirement place to live. Apparently, there are 4,000 places that allow the older people to bring their pets with them when they move. So that's great, too. And anyone who has a dog or a cat knows the companionship is terrific, especially for a personal loan.
So I'd like to mention again that we're talking with Marion Zola, and she's wrote a book about her own experiences adopting a dog. And even with COVID and even without and before and after COVID, she's been an advocate on adopting a dog, rescuing a dog from a dog pound or some other organization where it's in danger of being put to death. Are there any red flags where it might not be a good idea to adopt a dog?
As I said, if it comes from a puppy mill, you don't want any part of it.
Okay.
As far as adopting a dog that you shouldn't, talk to the shelter and rescue people. They know the dogs. They know what would be a good dog for your family. And you can visit with the dogs. You know, you can take the dog for a little walk, and you can. The great thing about a rescue group or a shelter is if it doesn't work out, they will let you bring the dog back. You can't do that with a puppy mill.
And while you're there, you can try different dogs, see about their sizes, their strengths, their activity level, and see who you bond with.
Right.
And if there's issues about food or support, vet expenses, they may know about resources that you can take advantage of.
Excellent point, Ken, because vets are expensive today. And there are some groups that can help with that. But just like having children, it does have a cost involved. You want to feed the dog good food, which is the single most important factor for their health. And along the way, there may be some vet expenses. There are some vet expenses, even if the dog is healthy. And of course, that's a consideration for people.
There also might be some animal shelters or societies, prevention of cruelty to animals, that might have vets available at a reduced fee.
Yes, that's very true. And you can get those lists from the rescue groups and shelters. But, there's one more benefit to adopting, which is you're saving a life. You're saving a life. And what could be better than that?
And there might be, are you saving the dog's life, or is the dog saving your life? Or both? Okay.
Sometimes both.
So, Marion, what other thoughts do you have about the benefits of adopting dogs, and why now is a good time?
Ken, I also co-produce a show on shelter dogs, on the great benefit of shelter dogs, called Shelter Me, which streams at shelterme.tv. And some of those dogs went on to become service dogs for PTSD veterans. Some became search and rescue dogs. Some became drug sniffing dogs for the police. So these are all dogs from shelters that somebody didn't want. But they were so intelligent, they were able to go on and do other things besides become pets. So there are great benefits for you and for the dog. And believe me, those dogs who come from a shelter and a rescue group, they know you saved them. They know you got them out of there.
And they have a lot of love and support to give, physical and mental support.
Yes, that's so true.
Just tell us your website again and tell us about your book again.
Okay, romancingthedog.com. The book is Romancing the Dog, The Struggle to Make a Pound Dog Happy in Beverly Hills. It's a fun read, and it's a love story between my husband, myself, and this dog, and the adventures he took us on, how our lives changed because of him.
And as a dog owner, do you recommend that a dog be properly licensed and wear the license tag? And do you recommend that the dog have a chip inserted?
The dog has to have a microchip. There's no other way to prove legally that dog is yours. They have to have a tag. They don't have to wear it 24 hours a day. I always took it off at night when the dog was asleep, so he had nothing around his neck. But especially if you have a dog who has a tendency to run out the door, put as much identification as you can. Please put your address as well as your phone number. Sometimes a dog is right outside his own house and the people don't know where the dog came from.
And you should make sure the dog is safe, that it, the gate is closed, that it won't open that easily, that it's not going to be approach strangers unless it's under supervision, that the door latch is not going to open accidentally, because you want to keep the dog safe.
So many dogs get out because the gardener didn't latch the gate or some such thing. It's a very vulnerable animal, and you have to make sure he's properly taken care of. Supervision at all times.
And you've got to make sure that you are watching people, that they know how to approach or socialize or introduce to the dog, because the dog is going to have a certain behavior, and you just want to be careful, and you want to supervise the introduction.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I see you talk like somebody who's loved a dog.
Oh no, I've liked dogs, and I've had dogs over the years, so I know about. And I volunteer at a rescue place, and I know about the good they can do, and that there are many dogs available, and they do need rescuers, and
so many
come in all shapes and sizes, and all different personalities and activity levels. So you can find out the one that's best suited to you. As you said, go look. Sometimes there are adoption events. Meet different dogs, see who bond with, find out what resources are available. Try it out at home as a foster and see what works.
But please don't buy a dog on the internet or from out of state. The breeder who's legitimate is in your state.
And if they go to your website, do you have links to some of the resources you've mentioned about the dogs and some sample pages from your book?
I may have sample pages from the book, but as far as the resources go, I did not have it on, but that's an excellent idea, and I will put that on immediately.
And someone could always Google for local rescue groups and information on caring for dogs, on resources available to help obtain lower cost vet care and maybe even some free food for dogs.
And don't forget, petfinder.com lists all the adoptable dogs in your area.
An older person who's less active might be the perfect match for an older dog who's less active.
Exactly. And it would be great for them and great for the dog.
And those less active dogs come in all shapes and sizes.
Right. And they're not a 15-year commitment. You don't want that dog to end up back in the shelter.
Right. And sometimes friends or neighbors or a local dog walker can help you take care of the dog if you're away and unable to do so. There are even dog hotels, doggy daycare.
Exactly. And don't forget to include the dog in your will, because if you don't assign someone to take care of him after you go, or you may go suddenly, nobody knows what to do with the dog.
And if it's too hard for you, you might be able to share the responsibilities with a neighbor or a friend. As long as the dog feels they're loved and protected and fed, they might be happy with the arrangement.
Exactly. I know this is a show on legal issues. I might end by telling you a funny story. I know about a couple who died and left the cat to be cared for by their housekeeper. And they left plenty of money to take care of the cat. And they had an executor of the estate who dispensed the money every so often to take care of the cat. And the caretaker was taking care of the cat. And when the cat died, she didn't want the money to stop. So what she did was went out and got another cat who looked similar, so the money would keep coming. So make sure that if you leave a dog or cat to someone, it's someone you can really trust.
Okay. And for more information on everything we've discussed, go to romancingthedog.com. I'd like to thank our guest, Marion Zola, for talking to us about adopting dogs legally and for the best reasons, during and after COVID. And please keep in mind that if you want to tell someone else about the program, you can find the podcast at nccradio.org. There are also podcasts at that site about many other legal topics. And you've been listening to WHPC 90.3 FM at Nassau Community College in Garden City, Long Island, New York. And please join us this same time next week for another program on Law You Should Know.